Why it sucks to be a Titanosaurus. The tragic life of a Titanosaurus. Being born as a Titanosaurus is like being shoved into a world where everyone's trying to step on you. Literally. No cozy nest or warm hugs from mom. Nope. You crack out of a giant egg in the middle of a swamp, covered in mud, staring up at the massive, lumbering giants that might squish you without even noticing. Your first breath smells like wet ferns and dinosaur dung. Your first life lesson? Move fast or get flattened. Appearance. Nature's overcompensation. Titanosaurs were basically the overachievers of dinosaurs. Nature decided, you know what would be hilarious? Make this thing the size of an apartment building and then give it a neck so long it gets stuck in trees. With massive legs like tree trunks, a tail long enough to trip over, and a neck that could double as a bridge, Titanosaurs were a walking reminder that bigger isn't always better. Sure, you look impressive from a distance, but up close, you're a slow-moving mountain of awkwardness. Birds perched on your back, trees slapped you in the face. It was a never-ending clumsy parade. The home, living the swamp life. Titanosaurs weren't picky wherever there were plants, they called it home. Swamps, forests, deserts, you name it. But let's be real, when you're heavier than a small plane, everywhere is a problematic living environment. One wrong step and you're sinking into a muddy pit, stuck for hours while smaller dinosaurs giggle at you from the bushes. Want to find fresh food? Good luck navigating through forests so thick your tail knocks down half the scenery every time you turn around. Childhood, a giant target. As a Titanosaurus kid, you're basically a walking buffet. Tiny but terrifying. Everything from giant snakes to carnivorous dinosaurs looked at you like you were a free meal. You spent your days dodging jaws and your nights sleeping under your mom's massive belly for protection. Games? Forget tag. Your childhood playtime involved running for your life and learning how not to get eaten. If you survived your first year, you were a rock star. If you learned how to use your tail to slap annoying predators, you were a legend. Funny incident number 1. The Neck Disaster 1. Legendary story passed down by Titanosaurus ancestors. Involved Long Neck Larry, who thought he could reach a fruit on a high cliff. He stretched and stretched and stretched until he toppled over like a giant tree. It took 8 hours, 4 stegosauruses, and a lot of embarrassment to get him back up. To this day, dinosaurs say, don't pull a Larry whenever someone does something dumb. Moral of the story? Just because you have a long neck doesn't mean you should try to touch the sky. Diet. Salad, salad, and more salad. Salad titanosaurs were herbivores, which sounds cute until you realize herbivore, for them, meant eating an entire forest every day just to stay alive. Breakfast? 30 bushes. Lunch? A grove of trees. Dinner? An entire meadow. Their lives were a never-ending munch fest. No cheeseburgers, no sweets, just leaves, ferns, and occasionally a very unlucky flower garden. They didn't eat for pleasure, they ate for survival. A Titanosaurus basically lived in a permanent, all-you-can-eat salad bar with no dressing. Size, the big, the bad, and the awkward. Speaking of size, being a Titanosaurus wasn't all roaring triumph and stomping glory. When you're 70 feet long and weigh as much as 10 elephants, life gets tricky. Trying to take a casual stroll? Good luck. Every step caused a mini earthquake. Want to hide from predators? Not happening. Even drinking water was a struggle. You had to awkwardly splay your legs like a giraffe just to lower your giant head. Sleeping? You just kind of collapsed and hoped for the best. Honestly, Titanosaurus size was more curse than blessing. Sure, nobody messed with you, but good luck finding a comfy spot to nap. And let's not even talk about fitting into social gatherings. Everyone else is mingling by the watering hole, and you're the living skyscraper sticking out like a sore thumb. You couldn't even properly play hide and seek. Your tail alone gave away your hiding spot from a mile away. And running? That's rich. The only thing you were racing against was your own clumsiness. Life as a giant came with giant problems, giant embarrassment, and giant faceplants. Adulthood. Big body, big problems. You're an adult now. As an adult Titanosaurus, your biggest enemy wasn't predators anymore. It was your own clumsiness. Tripping over your own tail? Check. Getting your head stuck in trees? Happens weekly. Accidentally flattening a herd of smaller dinos just by walking through? Sorry, guys. Mating. Romance at massive scale. Dating as a Titanosaurus was basically a nightmare. You'd spot a potential mate across the swamp, and the whole process would take 3 days just to meet up. Forget sweet talking when your voice sounds like a rock slide. Whispering sweet nothings isn't really possible. The courtship dance? A lot of slow, awkward neck twirling and stomping that terrified every other creature within a mile radius. If you didn't accidentally flatten your date during the process, you were considered a true romantic success story. Death. The big fall. Then comes the death. Titanosaurs didn't go quietly into the night. One bad slip on a muddy slope, and boom. Or maybe you were about to nap on the edge of a cliff, and boom, there goes your body. No peaceful passing, no dignified farewell. Just a giant, ground-shaking flop, followed by confused dinosaurs poking your remains with sticks. In the end, the mighty Titanosaurus became part of the very swamp it once ruled. A fitting, if slightly humiliating, finale. Fossils, the last laugh in the museum. Millions of years later, your fossilized bones end up being dug out by tiny, hairless apes who stare at them in awe. They piece you back together in a museum, but not without a few mistakes. Is this the head bone or the tailbone? Congratulations, you're now a museum mascot. You went from a living, breathing, tail-swinging titan to a dusty coat rack for toddlers' imaginations. Somewhere in the cosmic joke of existence, that's probably the funniest punchline of all.